It very well could be the number one question all off season. Has Tom Brady played his last snap as a Patriot? Will Tom Brady return and play somewhere else in the NFL? How's it all going to work out? Let's check in Foxborough right now, see if Mike Giardi has any clues. He's with the Patriots.
The Patriots are in a place they've never been before with Tom Brady, staring down the barrel of an expiring contract. And as we reported back in August and again reiterated to Peter King on Monday, it was Brady who wanted to control his own future. He's the one who said no franchise tag when they renegotiated. He's the one who said no transition tag. He wants to be able to see what's out there and maybe dare the Patriots to meet it. One thing to consider here as well, Brady not only was dealing with the tennis elbow that I reported about, but also, as I've learned from sources, a foot injury back in December that plagued him right through the playoffs. Just another thing for both sides to measure.
All right, I mean, this is like Derek Jeter or Michael Jordan coming up on the end of his career and being a free agent saying, I still want to play. Do we want to be able to work something out in New England?
Yes, I'm here with the OG, the master at route running, Steve Smith, and he's also a QB connoisseur. Now, Steve, you saw Tom Brady lose this past weekend.
Yes.
What do you think is next for Tom? Do you think his stint is over in New England?
Well, probably unlikely his stint is over as a quarterback. However, we don't know what's going on in New England. A lot has transpired. We've kind of seen a reset of things in New England that we're not familiar and we're not used to. But however, we all know all things will pass. The first will become last and the last will become first. And that's what we're experiencing right now in New England.
Now, do you think Tom Brady can be as successful as he's been with New England? You think he can bring that success to another team? Do you even think teams would want Tom Brady?
Most quarterbacks in the National Football, the elite are very few. The average and below average, there's a plethora of them. There's a ton of them. However, the traditional quarterbacks like Tom Brady, Drew Brees, the ability to stand in the pocket and go through every single, go through all their progressions, that's an old time. That's an old thing. However, a former wide receiver like me, man, I love those.
I hear you, Steve. And you know what? I'm so glad you said that, right? You don't want to push crack. You don't want to do all the blocking. But it seems like to me, you mentioned Tom Brady, Drew Brees. They're going to be watching the games this week with us, right? It seems like there seems to be a changing of the guard at the quarterback position. You have more mobile guys out there winning football games now. Give us your thoughts on that.
As a fan, it's exciting to watch the potential. I'm calling the MVP, Lamar Jackson, to watch and see what he does and how he does it. To watch and see some of these other guys and what they can and can't do. If you're going to ask Tom Brady to do what Lamar Jackson has done, I mean, you wouldn't see a Tom Brady at, 40, 42 years old. That just doesn't happen. But Lamar Jackson is changing it. Deshaun Watson is changing it. Josh Allen is changing it. Russell Wilson is changing it. Those guys are carrying their team. Patrick Mahomes, the ability to throw on the run and awkward throwing positions. I mean, it's becoming something that you're seeing that our league is changing.
Well, I'm just happy to hear, my OG, my big homie at the network, and Steve Smith, you were a guy that was always about the pocket, guys. You know what I mean? And to hear you give a little
well,
thanks.
Here's why.
Why is that?
Can I tell you why?
Why is that?
I'm be honest. I'm gonna say what some guys are afraid to say, or they're concerned about it. I'm a wide receiver. When they ask you to negotiate or renegotiate or restructure, they don't say, well, we didn't give you as many passes. That all plays into the restructuring and also contract conversations. They don't pay Michael Thomas to block. They pay Michael Thomas to catch 149 receptions, not block 149 times. Not happening.
Well, I hear that. Steve Smith, my OG, but Michael Thomas will be watching the playoffs at home. Lindsay, over to you.
Yes. Seahawks won't be on the couch this weekend. They've got the Packers after a win over the Eagles yesterday. A win they got despite a lackluster ground game. Russell Wilson leading the way for them with 45 yards. Marshawn Lynch, who they brought in 2 weeks ago, only had 7 yards on 6 carries, though one of them was a tough goal line run. And Pete Carroll says everything's fine.
Yeah, I think he's doing great. I mean, I'm really excited about it. I want to see him do more, and so I think we can increase his role and allow him to be a little bit more active part of it. He does bring an element that we love, and that's that style and that toughness. And we saw it on the sidelines when he was, when he's dumping guys, out of bounds, and we saw it on the goal line when he's smacking in the end zone after getting hit on about that 3 or 4. He still finished it off. But he's got all of those elements that we love. So I think we'll see more of him in the next couple of weeks here.
More of him. Is that the answer here, D-Hall?
I mean, I think it is the answer, but when you see more Marshawn Lynch, it can't just be running the football straight from the eye. It has to be some of those screen passes. It has to be getting him out the backfield. But to me, the more telling thing is I still don't believe in Green Bay. We're all trying to figure out is Seattle, Green Bay. To me, Green Bay is still untested. And what I want is,
What are the questions
13
you
wins. They got 13 wins.
They do have 13 wins. And
Can they
Emrod
rewrite
tells me
their
this all the
schedule?
time.
Yeah.
Man, I don't care who's on my schedule. I just got to play who's on my schedule.
What have you not seen, though?
I just think about their last couple of games. Like, to me, we say, Emrod says, Aaron Rodgers has a system, right? He's able to operate in that system. To me, what makes Aaron Rodgers special and great is when he's making plays. And in this system, they haven't allowed him to go out and make plays. And so you see this Aaron Rodgers. You see the Aaron Rodgers that's making mistakes, the Aaron Rodgers who just isn't as comfortable as we've seen in years past executing this offense. And so, yes, I think, this Matt LaFleur offense still, they're still trying to figure it out. Yes, they run the football very well. Yes, they play pretty good defense. But it's nothing about this Green Bay team that screams, hey, we can win a Super Bowl. And Seattle, I've seen them. They're battle-tested. Even though they might not have won 13 games, even the games they lost, I felt like they've had a chance to win those games.
So you talk about Aaron Rodgers' playmaking ability, and you haven't seen that this year, but you've seen it in the past, correct?
Absolutely.
You've seen it in the past. How many Super Bowls has that gotten Aaron Rodgers?
He got one.
Yeah, just one, right? So what I'm saying is that hadn't gone that well.
One.
Yeah, just one. They fired their head coach. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
We're still seeing Aaron Rodgers transition to this system, and I think especially in the coming weeks, especially if they can win this week against the Seattle Seahawks, you're going to see that special playmaking ability come out, because that's when I need them.
Did you say if or when?
I said if.
Okay.
If. I'm not making my pick right now, okay? I said if. But when you look at the Seattle Seahawks, they just aren't capturing the line of scrimmage like I would like. Yes, I want to see beast mode involved a little bit more. You heard Pete Carroll say he's going to be involved a little bit more. But I'm looking at the guards and center. I mean, Joey Hunt, Mike Iupati's been a little bit banged up. George Fant, that's been on the offensive line. I mean, DJ Fluker. Those guys are getting straight beat at the point of attack. The double teams aren't getting to the combinations. The double teams aren't going to the second level. Russell Wilson, Lindsey just said it. Russell Wilson led this team in rushing, right? A couple of years ago, we saw Russell Wilson lead this team in almost every statistical category, and it got them to an L in the divisional round. They need the run game. They need this offensive line to come alive, because if don't, the Smith brothers will get after.
Are we watching Mike Robb make an argument for the Packers against the Seahawks?
Hey, Lindsey.
No, I know you're not making your pick yet. I'm just wondering if that's what, in fact, I'm witnessing.
I love you. I'm just calling it like I see it.
Let him back in the city, everybody. That's all we just want. Okay. Keep the water in your mouth. Still to come, we mentioned Mike McCarthy's Green Bay Packers. They were the last wild card team to win the Super Bowl. That was back in 2010. It's a feat that's only happened 6 times, but the fact is it has happened 6 times. So after the break, who Michael Robinson says can pull it off this year.
Oh, man.
Not weird. I'm not saying because Carson looked very good at the end of the year. So it's a valid point, but it's weird that they were 17-9 both times they played. Big win for the Seahawks. They're first in the playoffs since 2016. Now they'll go for another one Sunday in Green Bay in the last game of the weekend. It is at 6:40 Eastern, right after Texans Chiefs. As for the first day of games, it's Vikings Niners and Titans Ravens. A little AFC NFC mix each day.
Lindsay got the latest headlines for you right now. Tua made it official today. He is going pro. Alabama's star quarterback Tua Tagovailoa announcing he will enter this year's draft. Tua was considered a top prospect, but he suffered a serious season-ending hip injury in November.
A lot of the guys, you know, the general managers, the owners that I've got to talk to kind of said the same thing. They kind of look at this injury as like a knee injury almost, although it's not. You know, in a way that, okay, are we going to take a chance on this guy, or would he be able to possibly do a pro day before the draft and whatnot? Really, the biggest thing they want to do is just see that we can move and we can just be back to